All right. So thank you guys for coming. This is the Gator Motorsports General Body Meeting. We appreciate you coming here tonight, and we hope that you learned something. There we go. So my name is Michael Seaman. I'm the recruitment coordinator and the fueling lead, and I'm joined here by Mitchell and Gabby. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Thanks, Michael. So my name is Mitchell Taney. I am the other recruitment coordinator and I do ergonomics.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriella Vukai and I'm the EV Business Specialist.
All right, thank you. So today, we're just going to tell you guys about who we are, what we do. We're going to fill you in on our competition and why this season is a little bit different from your average season. Now, last but not least, we're going to tell you guys why you should consider joining. Now, so with that, Mitchell, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So yeah, we are a team of UF students who come together to build a technically advanced race car, and we learn great engineering practices along the way. We've been building race cars since 1991, so this year is actually our 30th anniversary. It's pretty exciting. We have historically placed pretty high in the competition. We've had 10 top 10 finishes, and the highest we placed was a podium with second place in 2015. So we have a great reputation under our name. So this is our most recent car, the F20. We built it last season. We're not quite done with this season's car yet, so we're going to show off this one. So we use a 2007 Honda CBR 600 motorcycle engine. So it makes 72 horsepower at 11,000 RPM and 54 Newton meters of torque at 8,700. We go 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, and we top out at around 80 miles an hour. And we can pull up to 2.2 Gs laterally. So those are pretty impressive specs right there if you don't speak car. But our aero package generates around 100 pounds of downforce at 35 miles an hour. And our drag reduction system, also known as active aerodynamics on the rear wing, can reduce drag up to 40% when activated. We use 10-inch wheels with Hoosier tires. We switched to 10-inch wheels from 13-inch wheels last season. So that was a pretty big design change that we had to go through last season, but we did a great job with switching to that, and we had a lot of success. So our car now weighs about 100 or 430 pounds without the driver. I wish it weighed 100 pounds. But yeah, so this is like kind of how our team is like broken up. So it's broken up into design and kind of management. So on the left there, you see the design systems. So that's run by the captain who kind of presides over the whole team. And under him is the co-captain and then the system leads. And you can see all 10 systems on our car below that. So there's a lead for each of the systems. And then under them, we have just our general team members, our system engineers who all put in work to build the car. And then to the right there, we have our e-board. And that is kind of the management side of things run by the president. And you can see that there is a business lead who has a team of business members. And there's also a bunch of other e-board leads. So things like recruitment, like me and Michael, and treasurer and IT stuff and all that good stuff. So yeah. This is kind of how our year for us looks. So after competition in summer, we start reviewing our performance and we start on preliminary design. So like we start to plan what changes we're going to make to the car in the coming season. And yeah, so once fall hits, we kind of finalize that design and we begin manufacturing. And over winter break is when we do the bulk of manufacturing. So that's when we build like the frame of the car and we start to like put systems on the car and stuff like that. So that's really like when you start to see the car come together. So it's a really cool time. And then in spring is the first time we drive the car, and we do a lot of testing over spring break to make sure that it's ready for competition. And then at the end of spring, we finally have competition, and then the whole cycle starts again. So yeah, it's pretty cool. This is we're going to do a little bit of like system highlights. So this is Aerodynamics. They design and build the Aerodynamics package in-house using carbon fiber. So this is like a shared system between our electric vehicle and our internal combustion vehicle. So we actually have a new team kind of popping up, and that is our EV team. So there's another competition that is separate from our original Formula SAE competition, that is Formula Electric. And recently we formed a team to compete at that. So that's pretty exciting. We'll get into that in a little bit. But Aerodynamics is one of the systems that is shared between those two. And they do a lot of simulations for airflow over the car using computational fluid dynamics, also known as CFD. And they do a lot of manufacturing with composites, like I said. So stuff like carbon fiber. And you can see some cool pictures down there with what's going on. Yeah. So this is the next one, which is structures and vehicle dynamics. So this is kind of a group of systems. So they kind of design and build like the structural components of the car, and also do a lot with like the vehicle dynamics. So these are also shared between EV and IC. And this group consists of chassis, suspension, brakes, and ergonomics. They spend a lot of time manufacturing with mills and lathes, and also do a lot of structural composites, kind of like aero. And they do a lot of simulations to figure out like how stresses come up when like forces act on certain parts. So you can see on the right there, that's a simulation of a force and stresses inside a part. So, and then in the middle, there's the steering wheel, and on the left, there's some control arms and push rods for our suspension. So pretty cool stuff. And then Michael, you can go ahead and take it away with powertrain.
All right. So the powertrain group of systems is just about the only one on the car that really isn't shared with the electric vehicle. Sorry. They design and build components that interact with the engine and actually improve performance. The only shared system is drivetrain, which actually takes the torque generated from the engine or electric motor in the case of the EV, and actually transmits it to the rest of the vehicle. So these systems include intake exhaust, cooling, oiling, fueling, and then drivetrain. So a lot of software that they use actually interfaces with the engine, and it's used to improve performance, pull data, and actually find out how the car is doing. Other software they use a bunch of software to simulate fluids, fluid flow, and to see how fluid moves, let's say inside the fuel tank or inside the oil res, just to make sure that we optimize that performance. So obviously with just about every single system on the car, you do all different types of manufacturing. For powertrain, you'll probably be doing a lot of aluminum and titanium welding. With our exhaust, all titanium, and with our fuel tank and oil res, it's all out of aluminum and made in-house. There we go. So the last group of system, or the last system on the car, is actually the electrical system. This is referring to the electrical system of the IC car. It interfaces with each system and brings the whole car together. Their system is very hands-on, and they wire the entire car. And the software they use is basically just design and make sure that they can build whatever wiring harness they need to make using Altium and Rapid Harness.
Thank you. So as we mentioned before, there are going to be two competitions, and the accumulator is the newest system inside of GMS, and it's only for the electric vehicle, and you can envision it as the powertrain of the EV car. And if you're interested in working with new technologies and adapting it to the next level, I think this is a great one for you. And then to continue, the business team is in charge of the business presentation as well as the cost reports and really handling the brand of GMS. So as you can see, the F21 logo design is right there for the car, as well as the merchandise. And then in the middle is one of the socials we have held this year for Halloween.
All right, so to get into the competition, we compete in a system called FSAE, or FS as it's known globally. It's just about the most well-known collegiate design challenge there is, and we compete at the largest event in Michigan. There are around 120 teams annually, some even traveling as far as from Europe to come compete in Michigan. And then also, like we said before, our EV team is going to be competing in California very soon, and we're excited for that. The way that the competition actually works is it's broken down into team performance and car performance. So on the team performance side, we have our business team going over costs, see how efficiently we made the car in terms of how much money we used, and of course our engineering design. So that makes up a small portion of the actual competition. You can see the breakdown there on the right. For most of the competition, it's actually scored through the events for the car's performance. So like steady state cornering, acceleration, autocross, and an endurance event. I'll go into a little bit of depth with the endurance event. We run the car for about 22 kilometers, and the whole idea is they want to see if our car brakes. So our car, we're very well known, and we're very proud that we finish endurance just about every single year that we compete. Only about half the teams do, so we're very proud of our performance. Now, last but not least, they go ahead and score our fuel efficiency based off the endurance event, so we can't just go as fast as possible with no regard for fuel. All right, so this season has obviously been a little different, but that hasn't stopped us from trying to change the way the team works. So a huge design change that we are taking on this year and doing a great job with is that we're switching to a carbon fiber monocoque chassis from the steel space frame that we had before. So basically our engineers have to fully relearn how to build their system, which, as you can probably imagine, isn't an easy thing to do. Now, also, from what you can probably tell from earlier slides, there's a huge R&D push for the team's first electric vehicle for next season, and hopefully we can be competing in California very soon. So to get a little bit into COVID-19, our shop access is limited. Competition has not yet been canceled, so that's something that we're very excited for. And there are some shop restrictions. Obviously, we have to wear masks. Safety glasses are required. We have limited personnel, and if you can do it at home, do it at home. So one of the ways that we're kind of getting around it is obviously we have a lot of online meetings. So we haven't really let COVID stop us from doing what we do because we're so passionate about it and we love what we do. So what you can expect when you first join the team is we really like to take just about anybody, no matter what kind of experience you have, and we'd like to make you a better engineer. So the first thing that we do is we train you in SolidWorks, the team's CAD software. Just about everywhere you are on the team, you'll need to know how to use the software. Then we run you through some new member projects. So these are just very simple projects that will teach you the basics of just about any system that you would like to learn about. And the last four things that we like to run you through is we obviously need to have you researching and learning about whatever it is you want to learn about. And again, it's all up to you what you learn about, so it's a very exciting thing. And we obviously like to test the car a lot, so going to those test sessions is a great experience. And I remember going when I first joined the team, and it's really cool seeing a car that students built run on a track. And another thing that a lot of new members do is manufacturing. This is one of my favorite things. When I first joined the team, I spent a very good amount of time manufacturing. It's something that I never really thought that I would do, but it's a great time. And when you join this team, you can do a lot of it and you learn a lot. And then slowly but surely, you get integrated into the team and you become a member and you really start learning and you really never stop learning.
And so let's go into why join GMS. So the first thing is it simulates the industry. When you're learning in class, you may complete a homework assignment that's relevant to what you learned, but here, when you learn something, you adapt it to an actual real world situation, such as the cars, and take it to competition. So you learn and adapt your and actually get to apply your learning to something physical. And then you challenge yourself to outside your boundaries where there is no stopping point. You can put as much effort as you would like to, and the more that you put into it, the more that you are able to get out of it. And in terms of making connections and internship opportunities, when you push yourself to these limits, companies recognize that, especially with the GMS name, and you'll be able to build a network of teammates that you know also work hard. So then in the future, this will help you in terms of professional opportunities. And so if you are interested in joining, please send us an email at recruitment@gatormotorsports.com. Feel free to DM us on Instagram or Facebook. And if you're interested in learning even more about the car, go to gatormotorsports.com. We are now opening the floor to any questions that you guys have.
Yeah, so you guys discussed that you do a design every year. So do you have to start the car from the ground up every single year, or do you just modify the previous year's design?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with the competition, by rules, we have to build a new frame every single year. And with that, that's a lot of work. But when you have to build an entire frame, you want to improve other designs as well. So it leads to us basically starting from scratch every single year. We like to save some components that we don't make, or some components that would work just as well in the next year's car. But yeah, we basically start from the ground up every single year, and we get it done.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We have a question in here in chat. It says, will new members be able to work in the workshop in person? So that's a good question. Right now, we don't know fully what to expect with COVID restrictions in spring. But we have a system that allows people to sign up for shifts. So if you really get a good project on the team that you need to come in for, we can definitely make that happen. But you can't just walk in willy-nilly, unfortunately.
Yeah, with that, like a lot of what we would normally hope that new members got out of their first year, their first semester on the team, we're trying to replicate that with new projects that we're coming up with. So you'll be able to learn about just about every single system. You can go to meetings and you can improve that way. And over time, you'll definitely be able to get in the shop. Sorry if I cut you off there, Mitchell. I thought you were done.
No, you're good. Yeah, I was done. You're good.
Cool.
Does anyone have any further questions before we close up?
So last semester, I sort of joined. I joined the Slack and everything, but I didn't end up having enough time to put into the team to feel like I was really contributing anything. What would you guys say is like a good amount of time to set aside in our schedules for the team?
So it really depends what you want to do on the team. If you wanted to learn a little bit and spend a few nights in the shop, you could easily do that. But if you wanted to get the most out of this team and really get the full experience, I would say anywhere from 20 to 30, and for members who are further in and have more responsibility, even 40 hours a week. We don't expect people who are new to put in that time right away, but over time it naturally happens. Once you really start working and when you get comfortable, it really doesn't feel like work. You make a lot of friends along the way, and you just spend like 5, 6, 7 hours in the shop, and you think it goes by in 1 hour just because you're working the entire time with your friends. So yeah, it's really up to you. But the more time that you put in, it's going to feel like you're putting in less time. Sounds a little crazy, but it's true. promise.
Yes, I would like to emphasize that I know that sounds like a lot of hours, but it really depends that, once you join in, you'll figure out if you are interested in putting that amount of hours, but it'll happen naturally, especially since it's something you're interested in and it's something you get to actually like apply in real life. And so don't worry too much about the time commitment until you go to a few meetings and then decide if you are interested in like becoming a part of it.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Someone in the chat asked, what if we're not able to go into the workshop? They're not on campus right now. So we actually have been making sure that, with summer, most people weren't on campus. So we've been making sure that we are able to recruit people online and try to like give people projects as much as we can online. Unfortunately, right now we are kind of in manufacturing season, so stuff like that is a little bit difficult, but there's always like research and development stuff that you can do as a new member. That's a really good chance to like learn about our car and learn about like how to make it better and stuff like that. So don't rule out the team if you're not on campus, because we can definitely make something work. And then someone asked if they're coming up in summer, if they can get experience then. Absolutely. Obviously, still depending on COVID restrictions. Our shop is open year round. And yeah, like depending on COVID restrictions, we may be able to let you come in sometimes. So yeah, there's no like off season for us.
Yeah, and also referring back to the schedule slide over the summer, since we do a whole lot of testing, we're outside, and we always need more hands. And if you're on the team, and we know you, and we know that you're safe, then testing is usually a little more lax than the indoor facilities. But obviously, we still take precautions, still wear masks, but it's a little more lax. Yeah, feel free to ask any question about like work on the team. If you want to ask any technical questions, like about the engine, car performance, go ahead. We have a lot of system leads here that would love to answer your questions.
Hey, so I just had a question about like the aerodynamics team, and like what would like a primary responsibility of someone on that team like just joining be?
Yeah, so with all systems, the first thing that you really do is you learn what's going on. So with Aero, I know that a lot of new members will actually start manufacturing right away. So you get to do hands-on work with carbon fiber. Obviously, this season it's a little different, unfortunately, but what you'd probably do is have some sort of design project where you actually get the basics of the system, and then over time, you'll actually get integrated into the team, and we can add you to the list, and you'll most likely be able to come to the shop very soon. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, that helped. Thanks.
Good.
Someone asked if there's any sort of financial commitment to join. Absolutely not. No, we don't charge anybody anything to join or anything like that. There is a listserv for the club. Once you get like active in our team, we can get you added to that. And then someone asked, where's the best place to apply to the team? Or any of those okay? Definitely the email is the best place to get in touch with us. If you message us on Instagram or Facebook, we'll just tell you to email us anyway. So how would we be able to access SolidWorks if we join? We usually tell new members to just use UF apps, or if you have the SolidWorks given to you, if you're a mechanical engineer, you do the SolidWorks class, and they'll give you a code for that. So that's like the best way to do it.
I think we missed the question. It says, can you name drop the names of each system lead?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm typing them out right now.
Yeah, and I went ahead and put the email in the chat. So if you're interested at all, please go and send that email message. We'll get you started.
And we know that this is a lot to grasp in one meeting, so feel free, like, join through the email, and then you'll learn a lot more on the way. Don't feel that you need to know everything going in. A lot of it is a learning process.
Yeah, I'd like to emphasize that you don't have to know anything when you join this team. I joined last year and I didn't know anything, and you learn along the way, and you learn without even realizing it. And basically everything that you need to succeed, you get on the team. That's really what this is about. In the end, it's all about learning. So if you're concerned that you wouldn't be able to do it because you don't know enough, that's not the case. So how do we balance school and the club? Great question. It's all about time management. So obviously, this can become a very time-intensive club, and school is also a very time-intensive thing. So I'd say that's probably the most important skill that you learn on this team is how to manage your time. Just about everybody deals with it to a certain extent. So just about everybody has to get better at time management. So if you find yourself struggling with coursework or with the club, you can always reach out to older members. They've all gone through the exact same thing that you've gone through. But like I was saying earlier, like the amount of time that you put in, it really doesn't feel like you're putting in that amount of time. And for whatever reason, for me, I found that it was easier to get my schoolwork done the more time I spent working for the team. So I don't know how that works, but it works out.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm the team captain. I've been here for a little while. This is my fourth year with the team, and it's basically my life at this point. Obviously, when I started out, it certainly wasn't. For time management, there's a couple things that I always tell everyone. The first thing is that generally, when members are on this team, they're usually very dedicated to school in this program at the same time. So generally, that means is that we just spend more time working than I guess someone else in the department would. Historically, the team usually has an average or a higher average GPA than the department does for mechanicals. And that's not necessarily because we're spending less time at school, but generally just more people are putting in more hours towards the team and towards school. So it's not necessarily total time management, but also just an overall drive to succeed professionally. The other thing to consider is that you'll be with a lot of your peers in your classes, especially if you're either in electrical, aerospace, or mechanical. You'll always have people that are in the same classes as you. It's really easy to collaborate and ask questions and things like that. And certainly there's going to be older members who have taken the classes that you're taking now that are willing to help you. So it's just generally pretty efficient, and you're kind of growing up with everyone at the same time. So it makes it a lot less daunting as you go into the curriculum more. I think that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. All right, so are there certain days that the club tends to meet? I don't know what just happened, but okay. Yeah, but it really depends on the system. The overall or the general team holds meetings every Sunday at 4 p.m. Just about everybody should be going to those meetings. But other than that, for each individual system or group of systems, they have their own meeting times. And also a lot of leads are more than willing to talk to you whenever you need to talk to them. This is something that I need to say more often, but we're not annoyed by anybody who wants to learn more or ask questions. It's one of my favorite things if I get to talk to somebody who's new or somebody that is interested in what I'm working in. That's the general attitude that you get on this team. So it's really whenever you want to talk to people. For when the club actually tends to meet, it's once or twice a week, nothing too crazy. So do most members want to work in the automotive industry after graduation? Actually, we have a lot of aerospace people. We have past members of the team now working at Blue Origin. We have members working at SpaceX. We have more than a few at Boeing, more than a few at military contractors. We also have a lot of people in the automotive industry, or companies like Cummins, Seaman's, a lot of like your big name engineering companies. That's where a lot of people end up. Thank you. Oh, here, let me go back down to the slide with all the contact info. I look forward to your email. I should be answering it within half an hour of you sending it. I'm usually pretty quick with that. Any other questions?
I have more like technical questions. I don't know if you guys are open to that right now.
Yeah, of course.
So like why titanium for the fuel cell?
For the exhaust, it saves a lot of weight.
Oh, it's for the exhaust, not for the fuel cell? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the fuel tank, it's aluminum. One of my projects I was trying to work on this year was actually make it out of carbon fiber, but you need a bladder for that. And bladders tend to be very expensive if you can't get them sponsored. And also welding is fun. So I'd rather do aluminum.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question regarding SolidWorks, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So I had taken SolidWorks. I'm a second year mechanical and aero, and it's my spring semester, but I took SolidWorks my fall freshman year. Do you know if the license is either expired or still usable, or if I can transfer it to a new laptop, or do I need to use apps?
So
because I thought,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, because I had Kumar, and I thought that Kumar had said something about it only lasting exactly 1 year, but I can't remember properly. So
yeah, they typically only last for 1 full year. When you first join the team, if you don't have a license, then we'd usually have you working on UF apps if you don't already have a license. But
do you know how much it is for a license?
I'm sorry.
Is there a way to buy a student license?
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
So UF apps is probably best, even though,
Yeah, unfortunately, it's pretty slow, but sometimes it's just what you got to deal with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
A little more on software. I don't know if we talked about it extensively. The team has its own licensing for a lot of softwares, including SolidWorks. There's a bunch of other things. So Star CCM from Siemens, ANSYS is our primary FEM solver. You'll get a lot of exposure to those different softwares. Those are like great resume adders. A lot of companies are looking for a lot more like hands-on or software experience. So the team can certainly provide that for you. Obviously, we keep the licensing to the team for obvious reasons, but certainly you'll get a lot of exposure to that. There's a bunch of other things. Ricardo Way for Powertrain is something that's pretty interesting that we use. There's a lot of lab simulation tools that we develop. We do a lot of MATLAB here. We have a couple of basically full-time MATLAB people that just make simulation software for us, which is really exciting. Bunch of other things. We're just starting with Altium and using Concord to develop our library for PCBs. So just a short list of some of the softwares that we're working with currently, if that wasn't talked about already.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about like the work that you can do for these systems, that'd be a good question to ask. I know we have a good amount of leads here.
What does a day in the life of a cooling system member look like?
Of a cooling system member, that's a great question. So obviously right now, the cooling and oiling system is it's one system right now. Typically, the design for that system is a little bit easier than the other systems. Those members typically are general powertrain members, so they are a little more experienced with a lot of other systems on the car. That's how a lot of the powertrain systems are. And with that system, you do a lot of hands-on work. Actually, a lot more hands-on work than just about every other system with the car itself. So when we're testing, it's usually you who knows what's going on with the engine. It's usually you who knows how to fix problems. And also we do a lot of engine rebuilds, so that's also another thing that a lot of powertrain members and cooling and oiling members do. Is Connor still here?
Connor is still here, yeah.
All right. Yeah, we actually have the cooling and oiling lead in the call right now, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what you do, Connor.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. My earbuds weren't working. So yeah, so I am the cooling and oiling lead on the car. That also involves is that I'm heavily involved in the engine, just because cooling and oiling is not as intensive as a system as say suspension. So I do a lot of cooling and oiling. So specifically for cooling, a lot of what I do for testing and stuff like that is just making sure everything's working properly and diagnosing issues. And then obviously when at testing, when I'm not working on the cooling system, like Michael said, I work more on the engine and diagnose issues there. And then similar things for oiling. But my job at testing is to make sure the car doesn't explode. So I'm constantly monitoring oil pressures and temperatures and things like that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Yeah, so if any of the leads actually have a question that would be good for us to talk about right now, please ask away.
Not drive the car.
Wait, what?
Jacob asked if he can drive the car.
No. No, that's a joke. Typically the way we select drivers is if you put in a lot of time on the team and you have a big part in the development of the car, then you're usually first in line to drive. Something that's new this year we're trying out is we have a driver development program. So you can work with one of our drivers and learn more about driving race cars and actually how to do it. That's another way that get closer to actually driving. But obviously, we have a whole lot of members, and unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of testing time, so not everybody gets to drive every year. But a lot of people still do.
Yeah, I think those are all the questions. So let's wrap this up. Thank you all so much for coming here with us today. We look forward to your emails.
Yeah, thank you for coming, everyone. Please email us if you're interested.
Have a nice